Welcome back, and I want to run through another Geek Thru, which is basically a tutorial on all the different redstone we used and command blocks that we used for day 3 of Vacation Bible School 2021 that happened at Bethel Church. And I'm excited to show you all the things that we did here. So let's go look at day 3. So this one we just had again, just simple command blocks. This one here summoned a lightning bolt, and how many times we had it happen? 4 times, I believe. And it's the exact same command, but they were just a second delay. So when you click it, whoever is the nearest person just gets hit 4 times. That's all those were. And then for this one, we just summoned some fish. That's all it did. And 3 blocks above you just drops a bunch of fish, whoever is the nearest player. That's all that was. And this one was the good one, and I believe it's just a simple title and nothing too special with this one, just real easy command there. Then over here we did our burning bush, and what was difficult about this one is a fire really does want to burn this bush quickly. And so the way that we got this effect to work, let's take a look, is we have a repeating command, and it would just continuously try to fill that area with dead bush as fast as it possibly could. And then it would then try to light the area above it on fire. No, it would just place 1 fire block. So all it needed was 1. And once it placed 1, the fire would try to spread fast. But since they were constantly being replaced, then it made it look like the bushes just never actually burnt up. But once you stop it, the bushes are no longer being placed. Yeah, they go away pretty quick. So that was that. And we had no redstone over here. Let's go take a look at this side. Ah, yes. This is where we had the parting of the Red Sea. So I'll show you how all of this worked. First thing we did was we had a bunch of chickens that could spawn. And that was just a real simple command. Which, as long as you had that lever flipped, the repeating block would just constantly just rain chickens. So if you can see, just as long as it was flipped, it would rain chickens. We had to be careful about lag for this. We didn't want too many chickens out and about. And then the parting, what it did, let's take a look here, some of these commands. Looks like we have 3 commands. The first one is it would fill some redstone at a certain spot. I'll show you where that is. And then it would clone something. And this would actually do the music. So again, we had down below here, I believe down below, somewhere, not sure where. Anyways, somewhere around here we had, I moved it. It's not down below there any longer. It's actually because of the way it works, this is where we put the music. So it actually cloned these 3 blocks, put them here, and then pop off the redstone block on top, and that would start the music for that area. And we put it down over there so that way as we went across the Red Sea, it would make that a lot, you could hear it for the whole time. So then the way that we parted the Red Sea, I actually had the secret area over here. So if you notice where this is lined up, there was actually an underground channel that runs all the way across. So let me show that to you. This right here. And this looks intimidating, but it's really, really simple. In that these blocks, what they would do is the first one would replace or fill an area with water, which is basically just a line straight off that direction. So it'd say, hey, if I find any water, I'm going to replace it with air. And then this one, same thing, if you find any flowing water, we're going to replace it with air. So that's what this did. And then these blocks are identical, but they just have a little bit of relativity to them. So that no matter where you are, just that way, it would constantly try to replace with air. And then these were on a slight delay to give it a rolling effect. So that way it didn't all happen at once, but it looked like they were parting outward is the way we did all of these. And basically they're identical all the way down. So as far as we wanted the water to part, that's what does this effect. These over here, they're basically just for our testing. This basically allowed the water to come back. So if there was any in that area, if there was air, then replace it with water. Same thing with this one. If there was flowing water, replace it with air. So do the opposite that those did. But we only needed to do it once. That's why it's not on a repeating thing. And the reason we had to repeat it is because it did this interesting effect. I'll show you in a second. So if we actually part the water here, this button, then as it went out, you notice that it kept trying to come in, and that gave it like this interesting effect here. So as long as we were in view of the command blocks, then we can make it look like the waters were rippling. And they would actually stay though. So if I clear those, you'll see that they actually do just stay once the command blocks have stopped doing their job. So that clear, all it did was it removed those redstone blocks that we had placed to fire up those commands. And then we just had, for testing purposes, we could just easily refill it. And that's what this did. Now it's interesting, if I stand like right here, you notice it doesn't quite finish. That's because these commands actually have you have to be close enough to them for them to work. So as I get closer, you'll see it kind of finishes over there. And sometimes if you wait too long, you can get these patches where it doesn't quite work. So commands can be a little tricky when they go this long. So we had to be careful when we did this actually live that we didn't wait too long, else it would only kind of part to like right here if we didn't do it fast enough. So that was kind of a quirk we had to work with. And that was the other reason why we kept it repeating, so that way it would actually be able to clear all the way through. So that was departing. And then over here, again, we have these all over the place, but they're basically, again, just spawn points that say, hey, set every spawn point to wherever they are. That way, when a character dies, he doesn't have to, come back. And then this one, this just makes a big hole in the ground. So if I click it, you notice it makes a big hole and then fills it back up. That's what that basically does. If I was in survival, I would have fallen through, and then it would have filled it up based on basically where I was, I believe. That's what this does. Find the nearest player, fill a big hole all the way down to 0. And then after a short delay, then also with the nearest player, fill it back up. Now this probably didn't work because we had a camera, and basically it probably just filled up once Redbeard fell. I just realized this. Once Redbeard fell, the camera was probably the new closest player. So it probably filled underneath the camera instead of filling where Redbeard was. That's probably why we were left with a hole here when we did this in the actual lessons. I just realized that. Then we have Always Believed God, and this one was real simple. Just repeats for about a second. Wherever you are, just fills the area around you with fire, whoever's closest. So that's all it does. It was a real simple command there. We had to be careful with it that you weren't standing up here, because if you pushed it while up here, then it was going to burn up all this stuff. So we probably could have modified this command slightly to say fill with fire, but only replace air, and that would have made this command more effective. And then we had the complained. I lost my button. Let me put a button back on there. And what this did is we have basically look for anything with a name of walk, and I'll show you what those are in a second, and replace two places above them, put a sea lantern, and then set it to night, and then do the title, follow the lights. I think, yeah, no delay. And then after that, I believe this starts the music as well. And I think in the actual game, I might have broke that as I was doing my testing. It was unfortunate we didn't get any lights. So if I push this button, and it does all of those commands, and then you'll notice that the way it works is underneath these, we actually have these mine carts, and we entitled them walk. So underneath all of these, that's how we got this path. So they're just there. They just sit there, but that's basically how we can just all at once with a single command get all of them to have the sea lantern show up. All right, so then down below, let's go to going deeper real quick. Down here, again, we have setting our spawn points. And then, let's see here. Over here, this was interesting. This is where we did our lanterns going across. Again, to mimic the God's word as a lamp unto my feet. And you notice as you walk, it pulls them, it creates another lamp. Now, it actually doesn't work on this side, so we had to be careful about that. So it only works on that side. That's because we have it detecting basically right here. If there's a player standing anywhere along this line, then it would do the next one or two out. So just like that. So let me show you how we did that. Get rid of some of these, go back behind the wall back here. There we go. And I need some torches again so I can light it up. And put a torch down. Okay, so that's what these commands basically did. And they're all identical. And you notice that this one is conditional. So it's actually looking for if the command before it was true. So you have this bit that's constantly looking for, hey, if any player happens to step on that spot, then fire off the next one, which is fill the area one block up with sea lanterns. And so these are identical going all the way across. So we didn't have to replace in the coordinates because they're all relative like this. It made it super easy to just copy them and put in the identical command going all the way across. Just made it really easy. And that's what allows us to walk across. Now, the timing of it is not, we have this hidden button here to do a reset. The timing of it with the command block is interesting. Like if I try to sprint across, then it doesn't doesn't quite work, but it worked fine for walking across. And that's the effect we wanted anyways, was as you go through God's word, it's not a race. It's step by step. And that was basically it. So that is day 3. Those were all the different commands. This again just teleports you back to the beginning. That's all it is. And so thanks again for watching, and I hope you learned a little bit from it, and we'll catch you in the next one.